And when we think about youth ministry, we think about the 4, 5, 6 youth people we have in our church, not the thousands and hundreds of thousands who are not in church. And when we think about ministry and sermons, we think about what will be acceptable and comfortable for those who are already in the life of the church. Totally forgetting that the primary essence and aim of the church is not for it to be something which celebrates itself, but it is to be a radical, on-the-road mission agency to reach the mission field in which we live. And that means the onus lies upon us to be the ones who move outside of our comfort zone. And I do it all the time, and I whinge about the worship, and I talk about the way I'd like to have it, and I rock up to the youth group in our church, the youth ministry, and I'm the young adult ministry, and I go there and I just think, gosh, this is not comfortable for me, and I'd prefer it to be like this, and I'd prefer it to be like that. And then I have to stop and say, hang on a sec, this is not about the style. We have a history that we respect and we own. Why? Because it gives us a trajectory of change. That is the story of history. And we are very comfortable to go back into history, roundabout to maybe the 80s, maybe to the 70s, and say, well, this is the time when I really liked it, and this is when the gospel was at its purest form, because it was at a form that resonated with me. And that's when I came to Jesus, and if only these guys would come and resonate with it and find it through the 1970s vessel that I found it, then they too will get it in its purest form. And so we're happy to go back there, or perhaps we're happy to go back to Wesley, or perhaps we're happy to go back to the Middle Ages, or perhaps, but we're not going back far enough to the book of Acts. And the Spirit of God who came into this place, and in the very first act that we saw that Shirley gave us, spoke in languages of places that were diverse. And we are happy to think indigenously diverse, globally diverse. But we need to understand that what it means for us to be the people of God is to be people of a message and of a transformative gospel that is robust, that is awesome, and yet whose expression and form needs to continually change. I do believe I do this in my own life. I do believe that I actually hold the gospel ransom. I hold it and I mask it from people to whom it is designed, because I'm too precious about the vehicles in which I first encountered it. I'm too precious about it. And I need to continually move outside of my comfort zone. And not even as a leader, not even just in terms of my own personal faith, but in terms of our church. What does it mean for not our church to be a uniting church that is all about affirming the denomination and the history of the denomination? But rather, what does it mean for us to be the chosen vehicle through which God has longed to reconcile this world to himself and longs for the message to get out? What things do we have in place in terms of the style of our building, in terms of the way we do our services, in the way we live our life, the way we preach, the symbols, the banners, the whatever, the budgets that we have? What things do we have in place that we have them there to affirm and because they resonate with who we are, rather than they fulfilling and calling us into a mission that would resonate with the mission field? If we can do it to the poor, what does it mean for us to do it to everyone else as well? Let me finish with a couple of truths I was pondering as I was thinking this through. First one is this: people follow leaders, not clergy positions. I believe it's wonderful to have ministers. I really believe it's wonderful to train for the ministry. I've done it now for 10 years, learning and doing as much as I possibly can to become a minister. But we need to understand that people do not follow a position. People follow leadership. And the onus is on us, I believe, as leaders within the life of the church, to show leadership. Because there are leaders in our church, and you know who they are. Because when you think about changing something, they're the first person you think of who's going to be upset about it. If we don't take the mantle of leadership ourselves, others will take it for us. And they are on our church council, and they are they were in our presbytery. They are around the place. They are in the life of our congregation. People follow leaders. They do not follow clergy positions. And I actually believe it falls upon us as people who are in leadership and have the vocation and the gifting within the life of the church to be the ones who continually stand up and remind people not of who we are and who we've been, but rather who we are called to reach. Who is our mission field? What is our mission? The onus is upon us to be the leaders to whom people will follow rather than those to whom we'd prefer we remain as we are in yesterday. Thirdly, people are inspired by vision, not by history. I often think about this in terms of what it means for us to move a congregation or a church or a group of people, however small or large, from one place to another place. In other words, where are we going? What are we trying to do? In 5, 10 years' time, where are we going to be? And I realise that most people don't actually think about the future. They think about the past. They think about the tradition, they think about history, they think about their recent past. I heard a wonderful saying that says, leaders lead based on vision, managers lead based on recent history. Well, recently we've been doing this. Last year's budget showed that we did this. We've always done it this way. But I actually believe people are longing for a picture of the future because they have no idea what it looks like. What does it mean for us to be a congregation that perhaps does this? What does it mean for us to distill the message of who we are? What does it mean for this church to be full? I mean, ask yourself seriously this question. Are there 3 people, are there 5 people who have come from a position of being far from God to be a fully devoted follower of Jesus Christ in your congregation in the last year? Are there 5 people that have done that? What is the core mission of our church? Is there someone in your life, is there one person that in the last 12 months you have shared faith with and they have gone from being a person who is far from God and become a fully devoted follower of Jesus Christ? Is there even one? You'll be here at this day today for 8 hours or so. We could easily in a heartbeat give 8 hours of a Saturday across to learning and training and all the rest of it. Has there been 8 hours that you've poured into one person who has gone from being a person who is far? I'm not talking about just someone who's kind of around the church or on the fringes or used to give a lot, whatever. No. I'm thinking about someone who's never been to church. Recently I was asked by a chaplain in our local area to come in and do a history of Christianity in the English class at the high school. And I was doing that because they're studying history at the moment in this class. They're doing their literature and they're finding all this Christian language and they don't have any idea what it means or the church. So they said, look, to the chaplain, the English teacher said, can you come in and give us a dummy's guide to Christianity? The chaplain got me to come in. And I start and I go all the way from Genesis to Guy Sebastian. And we seriously did the whole lot in 2 hours. This is the Old Testament, this is the New Testament, this is Jesus, this is the church, this is where it comes from. And you see pennies drop, they suddenly realise. They've got no idea. Absolutely no idea. Totally no idea. Well, I once heard about a church. They've got no idea what happens inside the life of a church. For some of us, that's perhaps just as well. What does it mean for us to minister to one person in the next 12 months and take them from being far from God to a fully devoted follower of Jesus Christ? What does it mean for our church? Does it even have 5 people? What is our mission and what is our vision? I'm tempted, when I read the Bible and I read the book of Revelation and it talks about the future, it doesn't give us a picture of a garden. It gives us a picture of a city. So much of the vision that we have for our church is rooted in a return to the things of the past. And I actually believe that the church needs to be the most enthusiastic, innovative organism and organisation dreaming of what it means for Adelaide to look in 20 years' time. What does it mean for this city to look a certain way? Are we going to have a voice in that at all? Are we going to be part of shaping the culture and the nature and the community of what it means to be this city and to be your local area in 20 years' time, in 30 years' time? We've been here for 20 and 30 years already. Did we think about it back then? Is this what we're happy that we came up with? What does it mean for us to have a vision of the future? What does it mean for the robust message of the gospel to be at a core, heart and part of that? The preservation of the denomination, friends, is not worth dying for. But the fulfilment of the mission of the kingdom, I'll give my life in a heartbeat for that.